Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. Do you realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world? Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Okay, this is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Night, and I'll just make that public so we've got a stream going out. Cool. And I've got Larry, VK7 Whiskey Lima Hotel, in the studio with us tonight. So hello, Larry.
Hello, sir, and hello to everyone else.
We have tonight, just reminding people, you can call in on the YouTube streaming channel in the comments section. You can leave your comments, and please, if you're out there and watching, give us a hoy so we know that you're out there. And also, we're listening on repeater 2 here on the table. So. Now the reason, and we have our close-up camera back again, so you'll be seeing things on the close-up camera slightly more clearly than our zoomed-in normal studio camera. So without further ado, Larry brought in a little bag, which has become 2 bags, of RFID tags. So tell us more, Larry.
Well, you have to have in 2 bags because these are the UHF tags and these are the VHF tags.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yes, what they are is they may look as though they were something that you would find in a store to prevent you from stealing stuff, which is a similar technology, but not quite the same. The security system stuff in the store works by changing a frequency in an oscillator, and it generates a tone, and then I'll give you one of those. And when the tone is heard, then the thing goes off, and then the armed guard comes and asks you what you're doing. The ID stuff, on the other hand, is intended for actually IDing products or animals. So there is an LF system that's used for Yes, devices that are tracking sheep.
Okay.
Then there's stuff at 13.58 megahertz, which is the so-called NFC tag.
Okay.
And then there's UHF stuff. These are in the 800 meg range.
So the one that's on the there now, what's that one?
That's 13.58. That's standard NFC.
Okay.
Near field communication.
And I assume this little black thing here is the circuit.
Yes, it's a lot of circuit. What it is, the signal from your phone, the same kind of signal that you use when you pay for your latte in the morning.
Yeah.
You put it in the terminal. The phone generates a 13.58 megahertz signal. It's induced into that aluminum antenna. That's that spiral aluminum you see.
Yep. Okay.
And then the little golden contacts from the aluminum antenna go into that chip. And that chip has a receiver.
Yep.
Not a very good receiver, but a receiver.
Yep.
It converts the incoming RF into some DC. It powers a CPU. It powers the RAM. The RAM gives up its data. It then hits the transmitter and goes back out again to your phone.
And can I just say this is supposedly a disposable device?
Those are 50 cents a piece.
You're kidding me.
No. They're actually more if you buy them. Yeah, but they're actually 50 cents a piece.
But in the sort of quantities that many manufacturers are buying them in, they're probably even cheaper than that.
They are. And a small order for a company that makes them is 100,000.
Right. And I assume each of these have a unique address?
This particular tag, and I'll explain a little bit of difference about some of the other tags in a moment. This particular tag is addressable, and you can put anything in it you want in the data bin, if you will. So, for example, a lot of people who have, let's put it this way: if your native language utilizes something like Cyrillic or Chinese, you can actually load your business name into that thing, put that on your business card, go up and scan it, and it will dump your information into somebody's contacts list by a swipe. No more keying when you're at the meetings and the seminars and all that. Whoop, done. You can also use this or something similar to turn your lights on and off when you get home, and there are people who have put a device in their skin, and then they just put their hand next to their lights, and the lights in the house come on and turn on the radio and all that stuff. Don't ask. Okay, so.
Sorry, you picked up on that look. That was very subtle, wasn't it?
This comes with a gee whiz, how am I going to get this off kind of thing. That's UHF.
That's got its own cable tie.
Yes.
And it's UHF. And it's so the equivalent thing is in there.
But these are designed. There's probably 100 different form factors, some of which go all the way up to and including this, which feels like iron.
Whoa!
I don't know what it is, but that can be attached to red hot materials.
So, okay.
Now the application goes from a little tag which you showed into a UHF thing which you can put on animals or whatever.
It actually says that is iron tag.
Yeah, it's called the iron tag. Yeah.
So
it's hard to see what it is, but there you go.
There is to give you a size. Well, that's a standard business card that's sitting behind it. So that's and very robust, and actually has iron tag written on it here. You probably can't see that. Hang on.
This will be a little bit of a diversion, but that particular material is often used to attach the tag with more sophisticated electronics to very high temperature environments. For example, they attach something like this with a vibration sensor in it to rolling mills, the big rollers and rolling mills, the ones you see where the red hot steel ingot comes out.
Yep.
Well, the reason they do that is they're able to do a three-dimensional vibration analysis to find out when the bearings are going out, because if that I-beam loses track and just runs itself wherever it wants to go across the middle of the foundry,
do a lot of damage.
Big problem. So they even now have put, I think, 35,000 of the three-dimensional vibration sensors with NFC tags in them. There's a complicatedness more in the refrigerators in all of the 7-Elevens in the U.S.
Okay.
Because if your ice cream melts, you get a lot of unhappy people.
Yeah, well and truly.
So they're able now to do preventive maintenance rather than, gee whiz, my ice cream's all over the floor maintenance.
And that particular tag has a cable tie connected to it. And hello to Richard, who is in Strawn. Boy, he gets around. And also Peter Schrader. And congratulations, Peter, on your recent elevation to the WIA board. G'day from VK4. A freezing 11 degrees. 11 degrees. That is tropical. What are you complaining about? So hang on. This one here that we've got on the screen at the moment.
That's also a
similar.
It just really. That's what's actually inside of the older ones. Yeah.
That's even smaller than the one we had there before. And what's this one here?
That has a cable tie hole through it if you turn it sideways.
Yes.
And so you can attach that to all kinds of equipment.
Okay.
That is often used for inventory control, where you attach it to
something that's heading through,
or that moves around or whatever.
Okay. Oh, now this is slightly more handleable. This is actually, I'm going to have to zoom out here.
Now that is a rather strong PVC or some kind of plastic tag, which can be riveted or glued or screwed to a panel. We were planning on using those for putting them in a house, so we can do various things with it, including, for example, I'll give you an example of where the business I'm involved in is going. A tag like that would be attached to the wall inside of a senior person's house.
Yep.
Then when the carer pops up, they just take their phone, they go boop, and then we automatically pick up all the information. We know the GPS location, we know the client, we know the nurse, we know the medications, we can download an updated task list, and then when they leave, they go boop, and they can basically get rid of a lot of paperwork. So all they have to do is do their really medical care thing, and then leave. So the administrative stuff is handled by us in the back office. That's where we're going with this.
Okay.
Now, so that's kind of where that's at.
And I assume, given the size, the much larger size here, there is a much larger pickup coil. And you can probably do a little bit more with these?
You can. We can actually make those do nearly anything, and they can have multiple uses. In this particular instance, it's large because people want to print stuff on it as well, and also it increases the so-called sweet spot, so you don't have to hold your phone in so target. Most phones in the upper middle is where they're at.
Yeah, okay.
And on the back. And a disc like this can also be screwed to whatever. So
and this is made out of that iron material as well. So that's the it looks like a casino chip.
It does.
I'm not sure it's got as much value as potentially as a casino chip, but and it looks, actually it's got you can see there, if I can get the angle here, looks a bit like the radiation symbol. But anyway,
I'll give you just one other one. This is actually a bung that goes into various things.
So it's got it's threaded on the outside.
Yep.
And it's full of epoxy.
Yep.
So and it's obviously UHF. So that can be screwed into the end, into the end of a pipe or whatever,
or a drum or a barrel or medical products, because what happens is these things can be sent quickly on a production line.
Yep.
So if you seal up a container of some kind, or any of these tags can be used that way, and they just go running down the production line, you can very quickly completely lock in which product it is, when it was shipped, and all the related the batch numbers, because a lot of that stuff is error prone if humans do it.
Yep.
So
and this is at both ends of the chain, so it's at the manufacturing end to identify, but it's also at the customer's end.
Absolutely.
So this is about that, being able to track with food where it's come from, and all of that sort of stuff, which is very big in the gourmet food industry. Is that what you say?
Absolutely.
So
well, it's all about accountability and
authenticity.
Yeah.
Well and truly, you can prove that it's come from where you're saying it's come from. So.
And along those lines, I'll show you something else here.
Wait, there's more. Yeah.
Okay. This
how's that 11 degrees, Peter?
You can put that in, if you want to look at the back. You can see what the back is too. If you want to somehow show that. This is a typical tag you can get from the internet.
That's the same as what we looked at before.
Yeah, but I wanted. What's happening now is these tags are going all everywhere. So people now are looking. Yeah, that's the hidden part of the tag.
That's the hidden part of the tag. If I stick that back on there, so it doesn't stick to anything.
Then it says NFC with your hand on your phone.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, it is near field. It's up to 3-4 centimeters, etc.
Okay.
So, and that is now the some version of that's the widely accepted logo for all these products.
Okay. So if you see that, you know that you can
scan it.
Do something.
Keep in mind, by the way, that these tags I'll show you some secure tags. And what's good about secure tags is you can use them to control access. For example, if you were the people at Red Bull and you wanted to control access to the pits for the Formula One, boom, done. Or exclusive parties. We can also link these to different real estate listings. It's endless. And they're currently putting them in the tongue of, that's what we call in the U.S., the tongue of the Nike sneakers.
Yeah, okay.
And there's
so you know they're Nike.
Yep.
They're not copy Nike.
And they're doing it with Gucci leather bags, which are knocked off everywhere. And they've got a very special way of doing it. Now, I'm going to show you something that this has been in use. It's not at the moment in use. This is Blue Hills honey, which is a premium honey because it's Manuka. And this is a sales, so-called collateral sales material.
So this is now this is the company that you were.
No, that's a client of ours.
Oh, that's a client.
And friends.
Okay.
It's probably, in my opinion, one of the best honey companies in the entire country.
Okay.
And they're located up in Malbana.
Okay.
But they're 18 kilometers south of the nut, so they're out in the middle of nowhere, which is a great place to get honey. Pure honey.
Not casting aspersions on Smithton or
Bernie?
No, what's oh, it's
Devonport?
No. What's the town at the base of the nut?
Stanley. Yes.
Wake up, Justin. Which is a very nice town. Very nice town indeed. And in fact, hosted Rex a few times with his optical and his 10 gig. So there you go. It's just so that there's a radio theme here, apart from RFID tags.
But all our RFID tags use radio.
They do.
One way or another. Okay, so that is a particular sales collateral. That would be given out at a trade show, and somebody would simply scan that disc, that NFC tag, with their phone, and they would be taken to the company's website.
Okay.
Or a URL that we put in there. They're all programmable.
Okay.
And it would go in, the URL would be programmed for welcome, to visit our show and blah, 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 blah.
So, they are programmable. Like at this point, you can put a near-field device near them and program them.
Not these, but the ones you saw previously, yes.
Right, okay.
We're now into the fully secure authentication.
Right.
Because the previous tags, not the commercial, the ones that would be used in a steel mill, but the other ones that you normally see are programmable, but you can lock them down.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're counterfeitable. And what I mean by that is, if I go and I scan one of those tags, I can duplicate them, and as a consequence, I put them on my products and then have everybody who scans it come to my website. Because the URL is not prevented from being used multiple times.
Yeah, okay.
I'll get into that a little more in a second. This is
impressive.
Yeah, now that tag you can put under there. I'll be showing you something in a second. That tag is a fully secure tag. Now what's different about this tag, it looks the same. This tag has what is called, I don't know what is in cryptography, but it's called a one-time use rolling code.
Okay, yes.
So when you scan that, you would get a www something or other. Then you get basically a MAC address, standard classic MAC address, followed by a tag authentication code, okay? A TAC. The TAC is really, really long.
Okay.
And every single time you scan it, the TAC changes.
Okay.
So that tag will deliver the entire URL to our web servers.
Yep.
We then strip out the authentication code. We dump it into an authentication server, pull it back out and say thumbs up, it's all good, or thumbs down, it's no good.
Yep. Okay.
And we do that normally around the world in various places. It takes about 3.5 seconds. From the time you scan it to the time you get the page.
Okay.
Either the page we intended to deliver or like, uh-oh, this isn't real.
This is a counterfeit.
This is a counterfeit.
Okay.
And the thing is that when you scan it, if you were somebody who wanted to counterfeit it, if you scan it, you've used up that scan. So you can try that. Now, this thing is so good that if you go and scan it and you're looking at the web page and the phone acts up a little bit and you basically do a scroll to reload it, refresh.
Yep.
No.
Right.
It says, no, we ain't taking that. You've already used that one. So these are, nobody's been able, as far as I know, at least nobody that I know, has been able to counterfeit them. They come from a company called HID.
Yep. Okay.
HID Global. And if you, in fact, have a tag, it's quite likely from HID.
Both of those tags are actually from HID.
Yeah, and they also make those little blue beans, those little round dongle-y things that you get in and out of buildings with. And I'm told, that they do a lot of other things. Yeah, so that's them. They're everywhere. They're a Swedish company named Assa Abloy, and if it's got a lock on it or a tag on it, they probably made it.
Fantastic.
Now,
so
I'm going to scan something for you.
There's a demonstration about to happen.
Yes. If my
So
phone.
we zoom out a little bit here. A tag we prepared earlier. I'll just go to the oven and take it out. No,
Right.
sorry. Yes. And Peter's just commented timber heater on Justin. Oh, excellent, Peter. Excellent. And 5.8 degrees at Strawn. So 5.8 degrees, not bad for Strawn.
Yeah.
So
Give me that tag.
oh yes.
Yeah. Now I'm going to scan the tag,
And you'll hear it go off. There we go.
and then I'm going to let you see if you can scan that little URL at the bottom there.
Scan that little.
Well, put it under your Put it under your.
Oh,
your
okay.
close-up camera.
Okay. So
You're gonna have to go in real close.
that's all right. We can do that.
Now, can you read the last few digits there?
FF57.
Okay, give me that thing again.
Okay. There we go. It's a very slippery phone.
Now read it. That's the second scan. Boom, done. And
A6C8.
Yeah, and that whole everything from. Okay, first off, there's the Blue Hills Honey, Aus NFC, the company. Then there is the tag ID, which is that what looks like a MAC address. Then there's the tag authentication code, which is all that stuff,
Okay.
and it changes for every single scan around the world, no matter where and when.
Nice.
And we pull all that back, dump it into our server, and say yes, it's a go, or yes, where did you get this? Tell them it's fake.
Cool. And so that's that. In this case, that's being done with honey, Manuka honey.
Yes.
Okay.
It can be done with anything, and they in fact use these on things like Gucci bags. They use them on all sorts of access codes. Just usually, these are not expensive, but they're not inexpensive. So,
But the product's expensive. This
high ticket.
This is what it's protecting.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And also, by the way, they're doing things like I got a call from the. Are you familiar with Crizal lenses? They're high. Yeah. Well, I got a call from the manager of Crizal India, because they're making a lot of them. Well, India is starting to have a lot of people have a lot of money in India, so they want to be trusted. So there have been some issues of people saying they're selling Crizal lenses, but they're not really Crizal lenses.
Yep.
So what Crizal was asking me to do was to provide them with a package with a tag, so that in fact it could be delivered to the client or the optometrist,
Yep.
so that he knows he's got the real deal.
Okay.
And so there was a way of securing them and doing things. So it's all over the place, and usually any high-ticket item or any item that wants to be exclusive. We have this particular tag system on Old Kempton Scotch. Malt whiskey, sorry. not Scotch.
Yeah. Come on.
Old Kempton malt whiskey, yeah, almost. And and what they do is we have the tag, which we put into a database. It's you can't counterfeit it, and the tag ID allows us to actually deliver a web page which talks about the tasting notes on it, the bottle number and the cask number, and the day it was bottled. So you know. And by the way, if you're smart, you can also link it to an email account when the person buys it. So when Mr. Watanabe in Tokyo is drinking his little, he can scan it to show his friends. He gets a web page and maybe even a custom email saying, "Enjoy."
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
called high touch marketing.
And we've got Tassie T on the chat. Hi, this is amazing. So cool. So, Larry, what you mentioned Manuka honey? What and you mentioned the Scotch and Gucci bags. What in like other Tasmanian products are we sort of looking at to potentially use this on?
Well, we're currently working in the healthcare area at the moment, but we have extensive experience in the product side, and we have full support of HID, so we could go pretty much anywhere we wanted. I'll give you an example. If you remember recently, there were cherries that were being counterfeited, the entire logo and everything. They were using a QR code, but having a tag like this would get rid of it.
Yeah.
You're talking salmon, you're talking cheese, you're talking all sorts of things. Yep. We don't use them, but there are tags now which will manage the temperature or record the temperature for up to a year on a product that's shipped. So you can actually, and I did this early days, I put a tag in some chocolate, which I was getting, a whole pallet of chocolate in the U.S. Yep. So we could see when it was packaged. We could see it sitting in the, later looking at the history, later sitting and watching the steady temperature while it was in the factory. Yep. Then it went to the airport, and then the temperature changed a little bit, but then it was in the airplane, and there's this nice steady line at 30,000 feet, cold. And then we almost lost it, because what they did, they landed in L.A., and they put it on the tarmac
in summer.
And you're looking at this number, and I'm going, oh God, and this thing is going up and whatever. So yes, so you can do chocolate. You can do.
We get the pallet. It's got no chocolate in it because all the chocolate's melted.
No, they're not. Pretty much any high ticket item. But actually, what we're doing now, I'll give you an example of something less, not less important, I should say, but not quite in healthcare. Things like fire extinguishers in public buildings have to be examined every 6 months.
Correct.
So you want to know that somebody went around and actually did it. Yep. Well, if we secure using one of those zip ties, a tag on any fire extinguisher, you can't fool us. You take your phone as the inspector, you go up and you go, bing, you get a form, you fill it out, and we know at that time, because we grab the GPS, that you were there and when you were there and what building you were in. Yep. Done. Okay. The paperwork becomes really simple. Yeah. So all that kind of, it's called proof of presence. So proof of presence, whether it's a carer or it's a fire extinguisher,
cleaner, whatever. It's anything where the expectation is you're actually visiting a particular location.
And what it does, it allows you to have a controlled, I'll call it check-in environment, not unlike the QR codes, but it's really within a building. So you don't have to have it in every room. You can put a tag up and then boom. And there's lots of things that can happen.
Okay.
Yeah, the level of communication is extraordinary now. Okay. Because the thing that I mentioned about the vibration sensors, they can be located on multiple machines, and then they talk to a little transceiver, which is plugged into the AC mains, and then it links into the Wi-Fi, and it tells you all you want to know. Okay. And they do three-dimensional studies of.
Not VPL, is it?
No. Much better.
But yes.
Yeah. Fully encrypted too, and there's just any application you can think of. Okay. It's just extraordinary.
That is fantastic, Larry.
Well, everybody needs a hobby.
I think it's more than a hobby, but anyway.
Yeah, so I've been involved with the product side of it, and we're now getting in. Well, we're also looking at a bunch of other things, and we can track pretty much anything that you come across a tag, you can figure out what's going on. There are many tags that are tracking tags, so we can actually, we've done this to track vehicles, because some vehicles up in Malbana, if the thing gets stuck out in the middle of nowhere and there's no phone service, well, we had tags that would actually log in and do stuff if there was an emergency, that kind of thing. And we also were able to tell someone that they were driving at 105 kilometers on an 80-kilometer road. So that was kind of fun.
Okay.
It tells you when and where. But I don't say who.
Right, okay. Now, you have thank you very much, Larry.
You're welcome.
It's absolutely fascinating. You have another very nice little black box here.
Yeah, I've been trying to simplify and rationalize my ham radio and sort of get back to basics, like when I was a kid and I built a low-powered rig and then talked to somebody in California. It was like real magic, so there's something still valuable in doing that. So I don't know if you want to show that or.
Well, that's the size of the black box. So has a range of connectors and a BNC hanging out the back. We'll see whether we can actually do this. Let's zoom out here. There we go. So the front panel, obviously a LCD screen. There's a power and a Kia RIT menu button and a VFO AB preset A to B, a volume control and a tune, which is a optical encoder, I think.
Yes, it is.
By the feel of it. And then the back. We'll go to the back. The back is audio, paddle, cat control, push to talk, and RF.
That's a BNC, yeah, and then DC input.
And DC input. Oh yes, just here.
This actually has an SDR front end. I don't know enough about it. It's got a TALO.
A TALO decoder. Detector.
And this thing is really, really smart. It's got cat control. I think it uses a 480 TS480 command set.
Okay.
Gazillion memories and does all sorts of stuff. And it's rather magic. And the kit is $55 US. And I bought this built because I don't do kits anymore. But so.
And how much does built add to that?
They add $45, so it's a total of 55 plus 45.
Yeah.
And they'll build it for you and test it, and then I paid $25 for the case. So the whole thing arrived ready to go.
So about what, 115-ish, 120 US.
Yep.
For now, single band.
Single band. 5 watts more actually. This puts out 6.5. It's got a built-in keyer. It's got memories. It's got all kinds of stuff in it. RIT, blah blah blah. More things than you want to know about.
Okay.
And It also has something I'm interested in. It has its own built-in whisper mode, so you don't need a computer. You just flick the thing into whisper mode, and it goes off and does its thing. In addition, you can plug a GPS receiver, a standard one, in the back, and it will detect the grid square and the time, and it controls the frequency, and the time itself automatically takes over.
Fills in all of the details in Whisper.
Yep. And so you just flip the mode, plug it in, and off you go with Whisper.
Fantastic.
And for $55, it's a good deal.
Do we want to
plug it in?
Plug
Yes.
it in. That's a positive and a negative.
Yes, that's red goes to black, right?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
I've done that.
Yes, so have I. And in fact, in a segment in just a minute, I'll show you what happens when you plug it in the wrong way, because a certain component goes off with the bang and fills the container with fluff.
And you lose the magic smoke.
Yeah, you definitely lose the magic. Now.
Do we have 12 volts? I mean, is this on?
We do, yes, it is. It is. And what I will do here is...
Oh, it is on.
We'll just go across... Oh, hang on. We'll just go across to...
I need to...
No, that's all right. Leave it there. That's excellent. Now, what we can do here is zoom-a-rama into here. Now the only problem here is that screen is there is certainly there's a frequency on there right at the moment.
Can we do an angle?
I suspect the frequency of that particular camera versus the frequency of the updates on that screen are defeating each other. But there's a frequency on there, a 7 meg frequency. So
and if you notice, it goes by. You can change how many. That's.
Now the interesting thing is the decimal points are commas.
Yes, that must be European.
It's definitely European.
I think I can change that, but I haven't had it. So yeah, it's just magic. This little thing is smarter than. I mean.
And the interface is relatively easy to use. Is fairly intuitive.
Yeah. You push buttons and you get there's about 20 different items you can set up.
Okay.
It's got a beautiful keyer, no key clicks because they do shaping.
No. Well, it's all in software. I suspect.
Yeah, and it's just an amazing thing.
Okay.
They have an amplifier, a 50-watt amplifier that uses cosine shaping for the
Okay.
So it's really good. And by the way, the Halo or TALO detector, it's an IQ kind of thing, and they get rid of one side and all that. And it's got a 200 hertz band pass on CW,
which So you don't have to put filters in.
Right. This is CW only.
Okay.
And it's monoband, but the unit is very, very low power consumption because it's Class E.
Okay.
So what you end up doing, I think, is you can end up running it, and it doesn't get hot, apparently. I've only had it a couple of days and haven't really run it through its paces yet. But, yeah, I'm just expecting to have some fun with it.
Well and truly. And going back to your roots, I love that.
Yeah, and one thing, you can change the low-pass filter. There are various, and they give you the component values if you want. So this will go from any band from 80 through 10 meters. You just put it on the band you want. They do have a multi-band unit, but I'm not sure about where that's going on.
Okay.
The cat control is easy, and the GPS plugs in, I think, the paddle. And the paddle can be set up for iambic, AB, whatever,
okay. Or a key, or
automatic, or
yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, and back to basics.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, I do have had some very sophisticated gear. I had a 7300 and a 9700.
Well, and the Duo, the ELAD.
Oh yeah, no, that's some serious kit.
That's a very nice kit. Having played with that kit, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't need 12 receivers though.
No.
I have a hard time paying this. Whatever.
With one.
Yeah. Right.
That is fantastic, Larry. I'm very, very impressed. It's a bit of a brick, that one.
Yes, it is.
It's got a rather large. I'll turn it off now.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it's got a rather large transformer.
Good.
Linear transformer. You remember those transformers? That is fantastic, and it's a QRP Labs QCX plus CW transceiver.
Yeah, the QCX was the original one. It was sort of a flat thing, but then they improved a lot of things in it. Now it's the QCX plus. 2 VFOs, preset frequencies, lots of memories. You can do all sorts of things, RIT, and whatever. It's really quite complete, single band, and does pretty much anything you might want.
Very nice.
I have one for 40 and one for 20.
There you go. There you go. And in fact, it's of a size that would be luggable for SOTA or parks or silos on the air, which is becoming popular. And the other items on the air, which seem to be plethoric right at the moment. Museums, hills.
The receiver doesn't draw much current, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
But the transmitter being Class E, doesn't get warm, doesn't do much. I mean, it just boom, done.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much, Larry. Thank you for showing us everything about RFID tags and bringing in your QRP Labs QCX plus CW transceiver.
I'm planning on returning to my roots.
Woohoo!
With a doublet.
Oh, yes. yes. And a doublet on 1296?
No, a double biquad on 1296.
Oh, double biquad on 1296.
Yeah.
So you want a bow tie on steroids?
I do indeed.
Yeah, okay.
With enough dB to reach the mountain.
Cool. And good evening from Harry, VK7WLH. Hello, Harry. And we're finishing off we're hopefully finishing off the Moxon tonight as well. So we're getting quite a bit further along with Xavier's Moxon. So have all the bits and pieces there. So excellent. Now what I'm going to try here, and we do. Now. Okay, I subscribe to a list and a website called All About Circuits. Probably you've come across this. It's quite a popular source of information. Now, the one that jumped out at me was the Apple says devices may disrupt pacemakers, a lesson on the importance of electromagnetic interference. And this particular article talks about the iPhone 12s, and the iPhone 12s have a wireless charging circuit in them. There it is there. So you can basically put this down onto a wireless charger without having to plug anything in, and it magically charges through this induction coil. These are available all over the place. They are significant sources of interference to amateur radio. I'll just say that up front. But the interesting thing in this particular article is about these particular devices and the wireless charging devices on them actually interfere significantly and dangerously with things like pacemakers and defibrillators, which are and because because they are on a phone, and a lot of people stick the phone in their top pocket, they are right next to the pacemaker or the defibrillator, which can cause quite significant problems. Now, Apple's done quite a bit of research and testing and trying to address the this particular issues, but this is the latest iPhone 12. You can see there's an X-ray of it, and there's the charging coil inside the case. Interesting, Apple's response. There is a list of the devices it's identified that are potentially interfere with medical devices, so they are aware of it. The list includes iPods, Apple Watches, home, etc., etc., and a range of other devices. So it's just, and one of the things they emphasise in this particular article is the importance of incorporating electromagnetic interference when you are actually designing the device. So to build that in and actually consider that as part of the design process. They talk about while its MagSafe array in the iPhone 12 creates a magnetic field of up to 58 Gauss, research finds that medical devices start getting affected around 18, or I think that's 18 or 10 Gauss. So it's 5 times the amount that that particular device on the iPhone 12 actually puts out. So just one thing to be very aware of. With your new iPhone, and if you have a pacemaker or a defibrillator, you need to be aware of significantly aware of these particular issues, which can affect the device that you have that is potentially keeping you alive. So I just thought that was an interesting radio related article. Now. Let me just grab another device that's down here. Now, this device you saw. This was one of my dumpster dives. So this is a linear actuator, a reasonable linear actuator that I think we quickly showed last week. It's got a stroke of 207 millimeters, so about that distance. Its speed is about 5 millimeters per second, and it's capable of a force of 6,000 newtons. So it's these have come out of those chairs that rise up to help somebody get out of the chair. So that's where these come from. I dumpster dived to get one of these out because they actually come out quite easily with you slip the rings on 2 pins and the whole linear actuator comes out. But I was having a slight bit of confusion around how it was actually controlled, because it comes out to a 5-pin DIN plug, and I couldn't actually get the actuator to actuate in either direction. But what I was able to do was actually there was another chair put into the dumpster that actually had a controller. So I took the controller apart. There's an awful lot of electronics in this controller, of which most of it is nothing to do with the linear actuator. It's actually to do with other functions that this particular device, I suspect, connects to. Now, one of the learnings was very quickly, one of the learnings was there is a green and a yellow wire on the power connector. Now, my way of thinking, my experience with electronics says that. And good evening, David. We've got VK7DMG online. My thoughts about which polarity this would be the green wire would be the negative or ground, and the yellow wire would be the positive. Now, that's not the case. They're actually around the other way, and the reason I know that is this particular controller, and I'll just head back to our close-up camera. This is the controller in all its glory. Let's zoom in here a little bit, and you can see. Let's just get a bit more focus there. These are the two microswitches that are the up and down. There are some lights which light up parts of the controller so people know that it's going up and down. Now, this particular thing here with these two connections on it, that used to be an electrolytic capacitor. And that electrolytic capacitor, given that the polarity was wrong, decided to go bang in a very loud bang and spread its insides all over the part of the shack desk. So that's how I know that the polarity was wrong. And when I actually looked at the silk screen on the printed circuit board, it was very much that the VCC signal was the green one and the ground signal was the yellow one. So so I suspect the electronics in here is not too good. I suspect it doesn't actually work. But what I then found out was, in tracing the circuit, all that these microswitches do is basically put the positive voltage, which comes in here, which is normally 24 volts, back down the two lines that go to the linear actuator, and depending on which one's got the 24 volts on it means that it goes forward or backwards. So in the end, I actually worked out that most of the electronics on here is not used. It's basically just a switching circuit for the up and down for the linear actuator. So anyway, we now know how to actuate the linear actuator, and we have that was through a little bit of circuit design and also a little bit of learning of don't trust the color coding on the actual device. So that's the linear actuator story. So yeah, so we have two linear actuators here. I'm sure that there'll be more. I just need to keep my eye on the various skips that are around the place at the hospital or in other places. So yeah. Now, I promised this. I promised this a few nights. So I will actually get to it tonight. This is the latest copy, which is volume 89, number 3 for 2021. This is the Amateur Radio magazine, which has a fantastic shot of. Now, I understand this man here is actually an amateur with his guard dog, and with a wonderful, very large, I think C17 or something along those lines, playing in the background. So, and this is all about the celebrating the RAAF's 100th anniversary. So that's what the front cover's all about. So for those who haven't seen Amateur Radio magazine, just a quick run through of what's in there. Editorial and board comment. There is a very interesting article by Mark Hillman, VK7WLH. Is amateur radio dying or just asleep at the wheel? A bit of an analysis of numbers over the years. So interesting article. Here's the article on the VI and VK100 AF, the 100 years centenary of the Royal Australian Air Force, and a few of the operators who are operating the special call sign. Unravelling the Mysteries of Connecting Radios to Antennas by Brian Clark, VK2GCE, who's also one of the editors. So this is a multi-part article that Brian's putting in. This is the first of, I think, 4. Amateur Radio TV News by Peter Cousins, VK3BFG, and their new VK3 RTV. Bit of advertising for wireless men and women at war. A bit more on the WIA news. Oh, I've left the thing in here. Now, VK3 AQZ HF antenna tuner project. This is a constructional article. You can see the block diagram, circuit diagram, and then he goes into the article. This is the first of a number of articles. The 80 mega 2650 shield connections that he's using for it. Keep going. Experiments with LoRa digital transmissions by Dale Hughes and Dimitri, VK7WLH, and some of Dale's LoRa terminals, beautifully made equipment, which is what we've come to expect from Dale. Retro review by Ray Robinson, VK2NO, the realistic DX160 receiver. I know that receiver really well because my old man VK5TW Silent Key had one of these connected to his FL50 Yaesu transmitter. That was the receiver that he was using. The World of QSL Management, Charles Wilmot, M0OCO. And this is management for D-expeditions and the like. Memories by Gene Smar, AD3F. Bit of advertising. DX Talk by Steve Barr, VK3TT. So this is all about DX activity that's been happening over the last couple of months. More bands and mods for the JS80 receiver by Peter Parker, VK3YE. And in fact, we've got a very funny video by Peter and Hayden, VK7WLH, for our RF viewers. Simple power on indicators by Jim Tregellis, VK5JST. How to turn an oscillator into a time domain reflectometer for cable finding faults. The Ross Hale Memorial Contest, VHF UHF contest results. Soter and Parks by Alan Harvey, VK3ARH. Our Silent Key notices. WIA Awards. Alara News by Jenny, VK3WQ. This is the Lara and the AMSAT VKNet. VK7 News. Now VK7 News, the Sewing Circle Net, and also the training videos. They featured in this particular edition. Another Silent Key notice, and the book review by Roger Harrison of the Australian Ham Radio Handbook by Peter Parker, VK3YE. So that's a very quick run through of what's in an amateur radio magazine, and there's an awful lot in there. Lots of technical articles, really good. So now, Dave Wilson, where this live from, peoples? Oops, sorry for the caps. That's in domain. Dave, this is from the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. So, yep, and hi, and thank you, Tassie T. Learnt so much from this. So this is fantastic. So, that's our program for tonight. Just a quick reminder: we've got next week is not a DATV night. It is actually a presentation night, which we will, I think, will be streaming. I'm not quite sure. Haven't actually checked with the presenter yet, but I think we'll be streaming. It is Barry McCann, used to be VK7TBM. Don't know whether he's renewed that or not. But Barry McCann will be taking us through Tasmaritime Radio and their operations. They monitor the VHF and HF marine bands around Tasmania, around the whole of Tasmania. Their radio network is pretty extensive these days, and so there's a bit of a presentation on the radio network. And then what we're doing is heading next door to their operations centre and looking at the operating area, and also they've got a marine radio museum in there. So that's next week, the 14th, from 7:30 p.m. Our August presentation night is a focus on contesting, and that's in preparation for the Remembrance Day contest. The talk on HF contesting will be given by Martin Luther, VK7GN, and the VHF and above will be given by Richard, VK7ZBX, who is up in Strawn tonight. So shout out to Richard. And our September presentation is on the Tas Government Radio Network by Andrew Johns, VK7AJ. So the new P25 radio network that's being put in. Andrew's going to give us a bit of a talk on what's going in, a bit about P25 and the inside line on the new radio network that's going in for all of our emergency services. So there you go. Now for our RF viewers, we've got a number of videos. That first one, which is called QRZ Grouches by Hayden and Peter, which is a very funny little video. How many robots does it take to run a grocery store is the next one with Tom Scott. A physics professor bet me $10,000 and that I'm wrong, and that's the Vertasium one that we featured a couple of weeks ago, around being able to go faster than the wind that's pushing you along. The coolest radio you've never heard of is another one. HF SDR transceivers, the RS918 MCHF, and I'm not sure we'll get to this, but we might. The guided tour of the E4B NAOC Doomsday plane, which is a fascinating little video from the US about the Doomsday planes and what's actually in them. So that's for our RF viewers. So we've thank you for everybody who has contributed to tonight, and also those people who are on the chat channel. Hope you've got something out of it. We'll do a call out on repeater 2 after this, but we'll head to our videos and for our RF viewers. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, with our DATV Experimenters Night and 73, and we'll see you in a fortnight's time. Cheers.